and welcome back to the layout. Lots has been going on, so I figured I'd give you guys a quick update. It's been a very busy day here at the Clearwater Pacific. It's actually starting to look a little bit like a model railroad, and that has been a wonderful feeling. We are also trying out our new intro. That is temporary. I want to get some better shots for the intro, but I think it fits better with what we're going to be doing here. And also trying this new mic, hopefully for better sound. I've had these for a while, haven't tried them. Why not? So let's get started, shall we? What is going on with the Clearwater Pacific? Well, some pretty major changes. The time skip has happened. It is now 2025 on the Clearwater Pacific. And there are a couple of reasons for this. As much as I love the historical setting and I love the story of the Big Blackfoot Railway and the Anaconda Company and all of that, it just ended up being really limiting in what I wanted to do to a point. And so I decided, why not just make it the modern day? So that's what we've done. There is a lot of hand waving and story crafting going on, so I will try to summarize it as best I can. So the Clearwater Pacific is a Class 3 short line running between Edmonds Landing, which is just outside of Clearwater, Montana, and Sealy Lake. On the southern end of the route is the remnants of the Big Blackfoot Railway, now operated by Burlington Northern Santa Fe, BNSF. Just BNSF, actually. And in Bonner, Montana, where the Anaconda Mill once stood, is a transload facility wherein cargo from modern cars are put into 40-foot box cars and the like and sent up the Big Blackfoot to interchange with the Clearwater Pacific. Why? I don't know. Maybe it has to do with the fact that the Clearwater Pacific has a 75% stake in that transloading facility. Regardless, that's why you see the classic cars. Furthermore, the classic rail cars enable the copyright or the trademark owners to keep their trademarks going. So that's a win-win. It turns out it's like basically a rolling museum, except that it's actual freight service. So that's pretty cool. In the north at Sealy Lake, we interchange with the Kalispell Southern, a fictional railroad that comes off the BNSF up in Kalispell. So that hasn't changed, it's just not the GN. But there is the hand waving to make this happen. That's not the important part. The important part is that's why trains run. So there is where the Clearwater Pacific is these days. We're going to be heading in that direction. So there we go. What about the railroad itself? Well, I wanted to touch on a couple of topics in no particular order. The first thing I want to talk about is, as a new layout owner, having run my first operating session, it's really important to get feedback and make changes on that. So to that end, I want to talk a little bit about this right here. This is a laminated diagram of Edmonds Landing, courtesy of Eric Miller and the Applegate Industrial Spur. He has a really good video on how to make that. I'll link it in the description below. But this tells my crews where things are. Now, the previous one was about a third smaller and did not have all of the details that this one does. And in watching through the operating session, I saw that we were all struggling a little bit to be able to figure out where things were. And to that end, I have simplified and included some more things. Mainly, I have better descriptions of what the tracks are, and then I also have where those tracks are going. The main line here, it says west to Clearwater Junction, and the main line here says east to Clearwater. That gives you a sense of place and where Edmonds Landing is in the grand scheme of the railroad. The water tank is there, and then, of course, the same thing with the car, how many cars fit and what they do. There's the interchange, the main line, which is also a departure track, either direction, and then we have a classification track. And then we have the engine house and the shop track here as well. Now, it's interesting to know that there's another note on track 2 here, or actually track 3 here. It says track or switch is locked in diverging position, which brings me neatly to this. This is something that Lance has been doing, something that I saw also on the Applegate Spur. This will have a lock on it for the switch that leads into the engine house area Generally, it's always set to classification. My operators, if we're playing that way that day, will have to unlock this in order to throw that switch. All right. Again, doing that thing with modern operating practice where we're slowing things down and making us conscious of what we're doing. So that is another thing that I've done. These are from Totally Model Trains. I've mentioned them before. They're awesome. I will also provide a link to them. This isn't sponsored or anything. I heard about them through Around the Layout podcast, and they made my operating session actually work really, really well. And when I'm playing by myself, it also works really, really well. So that is what is going on. Now, you'll notice that there's a little bit of scenery behind me. And I know the rule is like you wait 6 to 8 months until da-da-da and scenery. And fact of the matter is how I'm treating scenery on this layout. I'm not a scenery guy. I want to provide the impression of what is there. If there is a road, a railroad crossing, I want to see something that resembles it, which, we can then use for operations. The goal is to have well-running trains. The scenery is secondary, and I don't want to spend a lot of my time doing scenery. What I want to do is spend my time operating for myself and my friends, and I want to make my layout accessible that way. So we did get the second coat of brown down, and trees kind of sprouted on the back side of the layout there, and a road appeared. 2 of them actually appeared. They still obviously need some work, but it's starting to look like a railroad. I got the road idea from the Milwaukee Road. It used to be the Des Moines subdivision. I think it still is. But anyway, I'll throw a link to that video as well. And just went down to my local craft shop, found the foam, laid it out. It looks a little rough now, but I think it's going to look a lot better. And it also means that I have a reason to have that railroad crossing that I got. So that's good. There'll be some more on the other side of the layout over here, but more on that later. I just wanted to give a brief update, and thanks to everyone who has commented and subscribed. I build this layout as much for myself as I do for you and for the people who are going to come and operate it. So that's why I'm doing it. I have all of the switches to finish out Clearwater and track on the way as well. That should be done by the end of this week. The next operating schedule session is scheduled for December 14th. And that gives me a date to get things done. So I need to get all of the track laid. I need to get it wired and tested before the 14th, as well as figuring some stuff out. Speaking of that, we've had some operational changes, and I want to touch on that really quickly. For those who have seen my dropping off a boxcar video that I did, that industry spur, went to 2 businesses. It went to Blue Star Freight. Blue Star Freight is an homage to Rod Vance's Willow Creek, which has been a big source of inspiration for me. And then it also went to Swan Valley Produce, which was taking reefers at the time. Now, while I was thinking about it and listening to Around the Layout podcast and looking up stuff and this and that as you do, it occurred to me that is a perfect place to put, actually, instead of separate businesses, do a more modern, where it's a industrial park. So that is now the Blue Star Rail Park. In the rail park, we'll find 3 distinct businesses, but they're all owned by the same business. There is Blue Star Freight, which handles less than a carload. There is Blue Star Logistics, which goes to trucks specifically. And then there will be Blue Star Produce, which handles temperature-sensitive produce. Maybe or maybe not with trucks. I don't know yet. That's not the important thing. The important thing is there are 3 different spots for the railroad to serve, and it all happens in the same industrial park. So what does that mean? That means that it gets its own switch. And to that end, this is a new piece of paperwork that I've created to try out on December 14th. This is what I'm calling a job sheet. Now, on the Willow Creek, they have train cards, which tell you what the train is, where it's going, and what it's doing, in addition to car cards and waybills. I have really discovered I enjoy handwritten switch lists. At least I do right now. And that's how we operated on the first one, and it seemed to work fine. I laminate them, and then we use dry erase markers so we can fill it out, wipe it, and use it again. I'm not printing out reams and reams of paper. So this is a combination of the train sheet and the switch list for that area. So This is, and I'll read it here, switch job. This is job BS-1, Edmonds Landing to Clearwater. It tells you where you're going. And then it says, switch outbound cars at Blue Star Rail Park according to the switch list. Return pickups to Edmonds Landing if switch list indicates cars are ready for movement, maximum tonnage 5 cars. This is its own job out of Edmonds Landing. So that spur, normally first thing in the morning, it's going to get its own crew. Crew's going to come out, start switching. Following that, we're probably going to move into the local wave freight, which will then switch the remaining industries here, as well as whatever Blue Star has heading north. If it's departing off the layout, it'll go up to the interchange and then just disappear throughout the day. But that's how that works. So anything going to Silly Lake will then go to Silly Lake, switch Silly Lake, and come back. That's that one. So those are the 2 main jobs of the railroad. One is a solo switch at the Blue Star Rail Park, because that's one of the primary drivers of economy here in Clearwater, Montana, and then also going up to Sealy. And unfortunately, throughout all of this, I think we've axed passenger service except for the occasional special train. So that's kind of unfortunate, but that's modern railroading. And we may actually end up doing what the Reading and Northern does, which is have time freights. So we have freights that leave on time on a schedule and kind of do what they do on the Willow Creek, a combination of a train schedule and a timetable. So there might be 2 or 3 trains, or even 1 train throughout the day that leaves at a certain time, and depending on what people are doing. I'm hoping that eventually there'll be enough work that we can have a Sealy Lake job, we can have a Edmonds Landing Clearwater job, and then we'll go from there. I am fairly certain there aren't any through trains except for the trains that we create. So leaving Edmonds Landing and going railroad east to Sealy Lake, that would be a through train. But we don't have anything going all the way through, primarily because we have to transload twice for the 40-foot boxcars. Although we will have some modern boxcars and modern stock coming through. Still don't know what to do about Sealy Lake. I don't think that the end of the line at this stage is going to be a lumber mill. There is currently no lumber mill in Sealy Lake. There is a lumber mill to the north, I think is what I did, is that to the north of Sealy Lake, up in Kalispell, maybe Summers, who knows, there is the big mill, and the big mill interchanges with Kalispell Southern, and that's primarily the lumber products that are coming in that direction. So we'll have center beam flats and box cars and things like that, maybe some bulkhead flats, hauling that. But I don't think we're going to get long wood trains out of the big Blackfoot like I was originally planning. So that may be a change of car priorities. However, I'm really enjoying this new phase of the Clearwater Pacific, which is, its company name is still the Clearwater City Lake and Pacific Railway, but everyone knows it as the Clearwater Pacific, and that's what we're going to know it as. So I really hope that you enjoyed this update. Look for more in the next couple of weeks, because as I work, I will happily update you. Next is going to be some track laying and then some wiring and some testing, and we'll go from there. So again, to all of you who liked and subscribed, you of course can like and subscribe. You can comment, please do. I do read my comments. I appreciate your comments because I'm doing this because it's fun. I'm not a grand anything. Just doing it because it's fun and I want to share it. So until next time, thanks for stopping by the layout.